What's up guys, LJ here, welcome back to another video, and today's the big day for Pokemon Sword and Shield. We've got the reviews that are out there, and we're going to be looking at Metacritic.com, and as of the time that I'm recording this video, there are 18 reviews with an average score of 81, and it's exactly where I thought the game would be, the low to mid 80s or so. It went up to like an 84, then to an 83, went down to an 80, and now is at an 81 as of the time that I'm recording. Heck, I'm even refreshing my screen to see if anything else has been added, but there's still a lot more reviews that are in progress, so keep that in mind guys. This score could go up or could go down throughout the rest of the day and the week, and especially once the game is launched fully on Friday and more people can play it, more scores will be added throughout the weekend. But as of right now, the game is currently sitting at an 81. Now the interesting thing with this is that there has been a huge score from a very big website, and that is IGN.com. They gave Pokemon Sword and Shield a 9.3 out of 10, which caused a lot of dislike bombing on their video review on their YouTube page, which was just crazy to see. People are legit upset that the game got a good review, but it's also kind of like the same thing that was going on with Death Stranding. People out there disliking reviews and getting crazy about the game, which I've never encouraged anybody to do or anybody to go out there and do that. But hey, people have free time on their hands, I guess. Now IGN gave it a 9.3, but we're not only going to look at that and what they had to say, but also look at one of the lower end scores as well from a big site, and that is VG247, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, blog style site in Europe. So let's go ahead and get into the first score here with Pokemon Sword and Shield from IGN and what they had to say. They did mention the whole national dex thing and talked about it and mentioned how they were upset, but overall they felt that the game was really good and helped the game in terms of the changes and everything like that. So we're going to go ahead and get into the last part for this 9.3 score on IGN. Pokemon Sword and Shield are closer to my dream Pokemon RPGs than anything that's come before. I'd still like better cutscenes, companion Pokemon, the complete Pokedex, and a more visually interesting wild area, but nitpicks are just not very effective when everything else was such a complete joy to play. The way they respect my time is wonderful, and the removal of monotony from random encounters and other odds and ends distills it down to not only the pure and charming fun of capturing, training, and battling wonderful creatures, and hey, if I'm missing any tedious repetition, I can always get back into breeding. So that's what they had to say for the review. Now on the other side of the spectrum, which VG247, they don't go off of a 10-point scale, they go off of a 5-point scale. So 60 looks bad, but in all actuality, it's a 3 out of 5, which is a recommended game, at least in what they're saying. But let me go ahead and get into what they had to say here. In truth, it feels like Nintendo and the Pokemon Company might be forced down that road as a Mel Koopa, as the already loud cries about the Pokedex are likely to soon be amplified further as the true nature of changes to things like TMs, movesets, and catching are fully understood by the most hardcore fans. After promising a Pokemon experience that satisfied the hardcore, this game is in fact much like Let's Go. Fine as a more chilled out experience, which is how I played it, but likely more disappointing the deeper a Pokemon fan you are. Bizarrely, it's also somehow less polished than that spin-off, a game which was supposedly developed quickly to allow the team to get to grips with HD development. Thus, this is the conundrum, the paradox. Pokemon Sword and Shield is all too often a bit disappointing, and in some places actually feels a little unfinished, but it also fully provides that warm, fuzzy feeling that one expects from the series. Crucially, even through frustration, never once did I think about putting it down, which is to its credit. It comes recommended almost for the Galar setting and new Pokemon alone, but with a long list of caveats indeed. With the level of fan hyperbole surrounding this release, that recommendation is worth repeating and underscoring. but this is not the revolution that was promised or hoped for, and some may prefer to wait for a sale or wait to see if an improved definitive release is on the card. So that's pretty much the dichotomy there between the top end review and the bottom end. Still recommending the game, still talk about how there's a lot of streamlined stuff, makes it better for casual fans to hop into, but it's also worth noting here that online and battling in a lot of these reviews wasn't tested as well. But if you're also looking at like, hey, they reviewed what they have, obviously once the game comes out, you'll be able to battle and do more there, but they did talk about those things, so just keep that in mind. And I think that when you're looking at the reviews, it's such an interesting scale, right? Especially with the fans out there. There's been so much toxicity, there's been so much crazy stuff that's been going on with these games, and I think we should talk about this in terms of the new thing that's came up. Now, for the sake of my channel not getting blown to smithereens, I will not be showing any pictures of data mining or hacks or anything like that. Like, the days of me doing that are completely over. But there has been this hashtag and this information that's going around saying that GameFreak lied about Pokemon Sword and Shield and what they are doing with the game. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. So in an interview, they talked about how and why Pokemon were cut from the game, right? It doesn't have the national dex, doesn't have all the Pokemon before, and they said that they are making new Pokemon models. Now, there was some information out there. I don't know exactly how it was obtained. I'm not sure who did it, and I'm not going to put up anything, but they said that the models in the game were reused from the 3DS. Now, once again, I can't verify any of that. You have a bunch of people online that are verifying this and trying to act like this is fact 100% and there was no changes and it was just upscaled. I don't know about that 100%. It's just stuff people are putting out there on the internet. So it's up to you guys to go out there and look and kind of make your own determination. I would like to let GameFreak also talk about it as well, because I'm sure somebody will bring it up in the post-released interviews, because there's always interviews beforehand and then there's always interviews afterwards, and I'm pretty sure somebody's going to bring that up when it comes to the models and what they had to say, because they did put that out there. So if they did lie about this, that's definitely something to bring up and say, hey, that's not a good thing. You can vote with your wallet. There's many different options in terms of that if you feel that they lied or if you feel that there was issues. Now, when I'm seeing it, like, I'm not a hacker, I'm not a data miner, I'm not any of that. And like I said, I don't want to get into that realm to where there could possibly be more issues or problems with what's going on legally and all of that. So I don't know. There's just people out there putting up some pictures and still frames and saying, look, this model's just like this and all of that. So if they did lie, that's definitely not a good thing, and it's something that definitely needs to be talked about, and that's definitely something that the Pokemon Company needs to address or kind of answer for if that is the case. I'm willing to give them a shot to kind of respond in the post-release. Somebody needs to ask a question to them when it comes down to it, but I'm looking forward to getting the game. Like, honestly, I'm looking forward to getting the game. I think that the game is going to be fun based on what I read here, even from the worst reviews so far, which there aren't many mixed reviews, as Metacritic calls it. Anything 70 or below is a mixed, and then bad or negative would be, I think, below 60. So there's only 4 so far as of the time that I'm recording this video, with 270s and 260s. So keep that in mind. It seems like most people are enjoying the game, even if you go about it here. IGN gave it a 9.3. You have GameSpot giving it a 9 out of 10. Games Radar Plus giving it a 9 out of 10. Game Informer giving it an 8.8 out of 10. So those are pretty big sites here, and even Nintendo Life giving it a 8 out of 10 as well. So pretty good scores, some mixed, but mostly good so far. But once again, we do have a lot more review in progress. I mean, I can just go down the list here. Eurogamer, they have theirs, Polygon as well, Kotaku, you have The Verge, US Gamer. They still are in progress or just unscored reviews. So you guys can check out those if you want to and kind of make your own decision on what you're going to do here. But right now, I think that going forward with all of this, with the Pokemon Company, I personally feel, since I haven't played the game yet, I'm just looking at it, I think that there's definitely room for them to improve, right? I think the graphics could be better. I think they can improve the wild area, obviously including more Pokemon in the Pokedex. That's something to improve. That's all valid criticisms, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think they're going to get better. Obviously, probably not the best they can do for their first real Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. There's a lot of room to improve, which if you're a fan of the series, that's definitely exciting. They haven't peaked yet. There's room to improve, and you can vote by just saying, hey, I'm going to skip out on this one, or I can play the 3DS games, but I'm looking forward to it. I think there's enough in there for me to say, hey, I'm going to pick it up, but there's definitely room for them to improve and get better, just like they did with the Nintendo 3DS. And I think that kind of stating that just calmly and coolly and constructively as well, that would be great. But there's issues, right? There's issues with this game, and you're going to hear a lot of people talk about that when it comes to some of these reviews, but there's also good things as well. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen here between the two sides here. It's like anytime that somebody says something positive, people out there bring up the negative. Anytime somebody says something negative, people out there bring up the positive, instead of just looking at it as like a normal game and saying, okay, well, here are the positives, list this, 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 and this. Here are the negatives, list this, 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 and this, which is why review scores are almost kind of like needed, right, from regular professional reviewers, because they're not going to get so emotionally attached to some of these controversies out there and are going to do their best to make sure that they score a game. Now, it doesn't always work out that way, but from all of the reviews that I've read so far, they've all mentioned the controversy and how they stand. So at least you can kind of get a perspective in terms of where they're thinking and what they're trying to say about the game. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think that we're going to get some honest reviews, right? We're going to get honest reviews. And I think that VG247's review with the 3 out of 5, that's honest. And also I think that IGN's review, that's also honest as well. Looking through, the person legitimately liked the game. I didn't see any contradictions in terms of what they had to say and the overall score. I think it lined up with the complaints and the positives well. So very interesting overall. But I'm looking forward to getting the game, and I will be streaming, guys, on Twitch. Unfortunately, as of the time that I'm recording this video, I do have a strike on my channel, so I won't be streaming on YouTube until that strike gets lifted, but you can find me at Twitch TV PlayerEssence in the meantime. So what are you guys' thoughts on Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let us know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future, and subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.